Good day, everyone. So today we are with Team DeNovo, and we're going to be thinking a lot about different things. This is EAM Experts on another episode, and thank you for joining us, everyone, today. What we're going to talk about today, and we're going to talk about who's here with us on the DeNovo team, on the Visual K team, and what we are going to learn about what the challenges for the implementation and everything was for the team that implemented DeNovo on the cloud. Terrence, I wanted to do a quick run around just presenting everyone. So Terrence, if you can start introducing yourself, and then we can go each one introduce yourself.
Terrence Panchu, Technology and Administration Manager at DeNovo. I've been there for about four and a half years, and it's been an amazing journey.
Awesome. Suresh?
Hi everyone, morning. My name is Suresh Mongu. I'm the production manager. I've been here at DeNovo for around the same time as Terrence. And most of the work I use and my team uses EAM at DeNovo here all the time.
Awesome. Mitra?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Mitra Soom. I'm the financial controller for DeNovo. I've been with DeNovo since day one, since 1st of Jan 2016. So I have a bit more history than Terrence and Suresh. I'm excited to join this podcast. So thanks a lot for the invitation.
Thank you all for joining us. So we also have Luis Echeverria. Luis, thank you for having us today.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's been an excellent starting day, so let's give it all over here.
Perfect. All right, and we also have Angel Torres. You probably have seen him before on previous podcasts. And Angel, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thank you for having me, and thank you for the Nouveau team to join us today. Welcome to the world of being internet celebrities.
Yeah. Okay, so DeNovo, last time I saw you, I think we were in New Orleans. This was what, 2019?
Yes, the good old days, pre-COVID.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, in 2019, it was quite an event. We all got the opportunity to be at Inforum, which really opened our eyes to a lot of things that Info has done.
Perfect. All right, so I wanted to ask, what's DeNovo and what's we've learned a little bit of how young this company is, right? 2016, somewhere around that. What's DeNovo and how did it grow to what it is today?
No problem. Well, I will take that, given that I'm the most oldest of employees. Doesn't mean I'm old in age, by the way. Right, so just a little background about DeNovo. DeNovo, as I said, was formed in 2016 with the vision of creating an independent upstream gas company. And its purpose was to provide alternative sources of gas with a specific mandate to increase the gas supply to the Point Lisas industrial estate. Our key partner is Promanigi, and our first project was the development of the Block 1A Iguana gas field in the Gulf of Paria. So first gas for that, from 2016 to October 2018, that was the project phase. From October 2018 was first gas, and we've been producing very well. We've maintained a very excellent HSE track record. Our uptime is best in class. We have 99.9% uptime on the asset.
Wow.
And our core principles is really utilize best-in-class HSE standards, ensuring maximum uptime. We strive to maximize local content for Trinidad. Leverage technology, that's a big part of our principle as well. And part of that leveraging of technology is really EAM. And in my view, whilst I am the financial controller, maintenance of that uptime has really been really dependent on EM and the product that EM has given to us, and also with the work of Visual K, it's really helped us along the way. So you shall just hand over to this, just to speak a bit about, because you, of course, as a production manager, utilize EM much more than me. I mean, I utilize it for more the financial aspect. So over to you, Suresh.
So, thanks, Mitra. Thanks, guys. Yeah, EM has been fundamental to getting our uptime where it is. What we did from the early on stages is we integrated a team who were going to work on the facilities to work with Visual K, as well as with some subcontractors that helped us map out all of the assets into the format that EAM uses to display the data. So what happened for us is the guys who are actually going to be working on the plant helped design the system. And we built it in accordance with a standard that has been adopted by all ENP, or most ENP producers. Basically, we work with safety critical maintenance. We assign a tag and we get down to the lowest maintainable item for mapping out the assets. Mm-hmm. So we have basically any component of the offshore gas platform that we have, it's built out to have a tag, and you can create a work order from that. And EAM allows us that flexibility to do that for all of the assets we operate. Offshore, the pipeline, which is a subsea pipeline, and the gas processing unit at Point Lisa SIP. My maintenance team are the ones who close out 600 work orders per month for the gas processing unit. And there is about maybe 30 or 40 work orders for the platform, and a few involved in the pipeline as well. So from start to finish, EAM has been part of this journey. We have been co-creating together, essentially, for operating DeNovo.
Thanks for the shout out there. So I wanted to ask, there's a lot of things that have happened throughout the years, right? This is not a tool that you just built in and that's the daily driver, right? There is a lot that you use daily and you have been growing towards that. What are some of the unique, and maybe Luis, you can back us up on this one, but what are some of the unique developments that you've had for DeNovo that were, unique modules or unique solutions that you've had to develop for them?
Yeah. So the DeNovo team is very unique in a way that they think about what they want to do first. And when they actually ask us to help them in terms of developing a solution for that, they already have most of it mapped out in their mind, in the process. And that's very unique on their end, right? Because you don't see that all the time.
Making your job easy, right?
Yes. But in terms of development, basically, I think the things that are they're not that common is, for example, the management of change and the control of work. Okay, so EAM has a permit to work system, but the intention that DeNovo had in terms of development, that control of work was superior to that. So we had to engage and create new things to support those processes that they had in mind. And for example, as well as the MOC, the management of change, is something that it's not a standard that you see on an EAM solution, but we have to think out of the box using their guidelines in terms of the processes, and then build up on that a solution that can help them push those kind of changes and track them within the platform. I think that it's very unique in terms of their day-to-day typical usage of the system. But again, it's very unique on them because they kind of think before they actually engage us in terms of what they are needing. They think about it and try to get as much as put it down right straight up as they want it, and from there we can take it on and develop solutions for them.
All right, and DeNovo, what's your feedback on these and any other implementations that you've had?
I think what we've done is that working with Visual K and Info has really allowed us to push the boundaries of what EAM can do. And that is shown in yes, the control of work, especially with the permit to work system. But we've asked for many things. We've asked for audits. We've asked for things that Luis has really scratched his head at and wondered if it can be done. And we've really pushed the product. And that is the space that we sit in. What we've done with Info, and I remember the day Suresh and I sat in a container and looked at the product. We met Angel for the very first time. That was in 2017. Probably around, I think it was around September. And having that conversation, the initial thing that sold us on the product was the ability for us to use mobile devices in the field. And that was a huge selling point for us. It was cloud-based. It allowed us that mobile capability, and it gave us really the options that we saw, that we thought we needed, but that we knew would need to be refined. So what we did, we really went through a stage gate process. It was painful at times for Angel and Luis, not so much for us, but we really put in a lot of hours, and we looked at what the industry had, and we wanted to make it that much better and adapt it to what we were required. Because what we run is an operation that sits with a minimal amount of staff. So we rely on this technology to really drive us and push us in the right direction while maintaining a balance with how many people we have to physically run the asset.
I mean, even to step into to support Terrence a bit, the integration that we've noticed that EAM can accommodate is incredible. I mean, many of us worked other places and have used other software, but never before, at least in Trinidad, and what I'm exposed to all the international clients we have here, we've had MOC, permit to work orders, inventory management, and the full suite of other software arms that EAM has integrated into one platform. So to be honest with you, I've stressed out my operators and my maintenance guys because they now need to learn how to use all these different facets that EAM has to offer. Stress me out at, sometimes too, but Angel usually has that effect on people sometimes.
Well, if I may, I think we need to kind of step back a little bit. And the DeNovo team is extremely humble. DeNovo is more like a SWAT team, right? It's a relatively small group of people, but these are all industry veterans, and they engage other industry veterans when they were putting together all of their standard operating procedures. So when we first got to our design sessions, most of the work that we typically have to do was already cut out for us. They have really, really clear definitions as to how they were going to operate, which to us was a really pleasant surprise, but it was also a big challenge because they knew exactly what they wanted. So I think it also has to do with the culture of the industry. And Torres can talk to this, right? The industry is guided by standard processes, and they know that the consequences can be even fatal, right? So the DNA of DeNovo and the industry is entirely different to every other client that we have worked with.
Thanks, Angel. I mean, we take a risk-based approach to almost everything, and we've used that risk-based philosophy to translate into the processes that we've built out. So when you heard them speak a little bit earlier on auditing and even having mobile devices able to use EAM in the field, that's what we saw the great benefit in, is that we can control risk by fundamentally setting what the objectives needs to be from the onset. And that filters into all of the processes, the perimeter work, the audits, the management of change. All of those things just support that risk-based approach that we have.
Awesome. So great teams, great tools, great outcomes, right? And I wanted to ask a little bit more about the industry and why is asset management so important for you guys, right? So what does it entail? You've mentioned, for example, integration or being just one solution for everything, covering from Mitra's financial side to Suresh operational side and everything in between, right? What's the importance of asset management for the industry that you're in?
So I can speak to the field, and a fundamental philosophy we have is to keep hydrocarbons in the pipe. Right? We want no emissions, we want no leaks, we want the world of efficiency working here. So as you know, natural gas is one of the hydrocarbons on the whole is Trinidad and Tobago's main GDP supporter, right? And a big part of that is because of how the industry in Trinidad is. Now, for DeNovo, we put a great focus on keeping hydrocarbons in the pipe, as I stated before, because we have learned from other huge industry learning experiences then. If you take Piper Alpha, take Macondo, take Texas City, all of those resulted in hydrocarbons not remaining in the pipe. If you take that fundamental approach of saying, I have how many miles of pipelines, hundreds of feet of vessels, and all of which we process hydrocarbons, and we look at the risk and the consequence of hydrocarbons being released into the atmosphere, not only on an environmental perspective, but also on a health and safety perspective, then you can see where, for the Texas City, where how much destruction can happen, how much pollution can happen. Yeah. And as I had mentioned before, we built out EAM to support the fundamental safety critical, environmentally critical, and production critical items. So our focus remains on, yes, keeping production going, but we're ensuring that because we have no releases, the hazards that people are exposed to are minimized. And EAM helps us do that because it's that reminder to us on a PM schedule that we do this check on the piping, we do this check on fire and gas detectors, we maintain all our statutory requirements, and the competence of the individuals who do the work, we also maintain somewhat through EAM as well. So from one of the other things that I think DeNovo does pretty well is that from our permanent or staff employees to our nested contractors, we provided access to EAM for them as well. So if they do a PM in the field, they have to update EAM. Then my supervisors check. And then sometimes I would check because of the level I am at for auditing purposes. But once our badge people verify that the PMs are done and the reports come in and we didn't miss a safety critical PM, then I'm happy. And I am assured that the integrity management of the facilities are being upheld.
So just to further what Suresh is saying, from an asset management standpoint, what EAM gives us is a single pane of glass. And that single pane allows us the viewing capacity from procurement to inventory to doing preventative maintenance to actually managing what we do for budgeting. So that in itself allows us a chain of events. And that includes control of the process, which is control of work. It allows management of change, which is critical for an organization of our type. So that is where we really need to understand the true benefit of what that asset management solution has allowed us to do. Because we could have done it in a different way. We could have not used technology. We could have said, and there are plans that do it, that do scheduling in Excel. They do different things like that. But it does not give you that ability to see where you are at any point in time. So that I see as the major benefit of this.
Right, and you mentioned budgets and everything, right? That goes into Mitra's side as well. Mitra, do you have anything to add to this?
Yes, I mean, going back to asset management, I mean, I just want to take a step back to when Terrence and Suresh gave me the unpleasant news that they want to implement another system into our financial module, right? But I mean, the fact is, they spend the time, Angel and Luis as well spend the time to explain the benefits of the system. And quite frankly, the EM system helps us maintain that 99.9% uptime, you know, and what the benefit of EM as well is the full integration. It's not just work orders, it's not just management of change, it's not just permit to work. It's integrated into inventory management system, to the procurement system, to invoicing system, to our entire financial system. And a lot of time was spent investing in terms of making sure that it was integrated properly. You know, so there's that full range of suite. I mean, Suresh and Terrence would have only touched on the asset management aspect, but the benefits I see on the financial side is huge as well, because it's one integrated module, it's one system, data is real time. So from that perspective, I mean, it's great. Suresh mentioned audit, but just for the financial individuals out there, when he refers to audit, he's more referring to self audits from permit to work kind of style. But in terms of financial audits, DeNovo is one of the few, if not the only, company in Trinidad that has a virtual audit. So we give them access to our auditors, our financial auditors, access to EM. They log in, they review their work, and that's it. We don't have to pull data. We don't have to download invoices. We don't have to print invoices. We don't have to print POs. It's there. Everything is on the cloud. And yeah.
Oh, that's a nice approach, actually. You're getting, you know, this is always a task that is hard to digest, right? And you're giving them the tools to make it easier for you guys, right? Because audits are never easy. And that's one very good approach to getting that out of the way from the get-go. So I think that's very strong. I also wanted to talk about that 99.9% of operational or running time, right? So that's a very strong point, and that's something that you need to appreciate, right? And I wanted to ask, is there, so for example, digitalization, is that something, as well as cloud and mobility, is that something that has impacted that operational time in a way that you don't feel you would have been able to do without those factors?
So Ernesto, we've taken the strategy of looking at digitalization and really bringing it to be part of what DeNovo stands for. We are technology driven, we're technology forward. And we have been using this approach since inception. So what we've done is that we've looked at what we can do and also looked at what resources we need to do it with. And by marrying those two, we've come up with a solution where technology is really the way forward to allow us to have the best approach to this. So we're quite far along in our digitalization journey, and we're just about starting to dabble into the world of artificial intelligence and those other modules that go with them. But what we've tried to do is automate as much as we can. We live in a paperless environment, and that has been from our MD to CEO to everyone else, that has always been the strategy. So we've really embraced that and allowed ourselves to move along that journey. And you can see what we've done. We've engaged Info and Visual K to do a Coleman study. We've engaged you all to use Data Lake. And by using Data Lake, we've actually now provided significant reporting, automated reporting to a wider team. And those are things that really show the direction that we would like to be in and show the strategy that we understand and we want to continue moving forward.
That's a strong argument, and I think that's very positive. Mitra, you were going to say something?
Yes, I mean, just to add to that, to that digitization, I mean, I want to speak a little bit about this COVID-19 pandemic and what we've done during that pandemic. So last year, March, we were able to quickly transition from everyone out physically at the office to work from home. You know, and because of that, we had such a powerful tool as EM, we were able to quickly accomplish that. So, I mean, from a digitalization standpoint or a cloud-based standpoint, we were able to really weather that the COVID-19 storm and maintain our uptime and our performance. And we've never slipped in terms of our reporting. We've never slipped in terms of our deliverables. We maintain our uptime. And we maintain our operations.
Yeah, there's even support Mitra on another front as well. Obviously, the plant employees or the guys who go offshore, they have to be on site. But I don't necessarily have to be there, and other approvers don't necessarily have to be there. One of the great things that we found here is even with purchase requisitions and invoices, down to that basic thing, or those basic functions, I was able to approve or not things remotely, So the guys who do their work while on site, me not wanting to burst that bubble, that literal bubble that we put people into as a safe space. I don't need to be there. We can have the virtual meetings, we can do the approvals remotely. Even with approvals and permit to work, which, usually you would have someone there. Of course, you do your risk assessments and you document it, we do it on EM, and, you can have electronic signatures. That was a huge component for us in managing COVID-19 and looking to maintain those safe spaces for our operations people to continue work while, we are on at home or working, with very few people in the office, that kind of thing.
Right. Have you had to adjust anything on your processes other than obviously the people that are in the office or anything like that? Have you had to change your actual process or, your authorization and approval process, anything like that? I
think whether it be, I choose to think that DeNovo, and when Terrence and the IT guys and Mitch and them, when we spoke initially, I choose to believe that we had the ultimate goal of remote working for any, for any outcome or any situation. So it was a risk mitigation. It was a hazard we identified from a while back. In DeNovo, we are technology driven. So we actively look for new and essentially better ways of working. And from that initial meeting that Terrence mentioned earlier that we had with Untitled about, and he explained the remote working and the mobile devices, we saw a great opportunity for this because I myself worked through many different systems before in the past where, and offshore. And you would see, you would spend about an hour to get a permit because you simply had to walk that distance away. And we envisioned we can get greater efficiency from the field and the coal face by just minimizing those steps, or literal steps. Your pedometer suffers, but you would be able to get a more efficient process. And I think because of that, all that it took for us to transition into this new way of working was the mental acceptance by the team. So we just executed what EAM offered us in the manner which we envisioned it in the earlies. And I think it fit really well into the processes, at least that I have to manage in the production front. So short answer, really, we didn't have to do much to get it to work how we wanted it to.
And Ernesto, just to follow up with that question, with regards to approvals, there were no changes in approvals. We continued the same exact way that the system was initially configured as, pre-pandemic and post-pandemic.
Well, that's strong because doing a proper risk assessment, that's something that has helped you, along the way, just being prepared for everything, and it's proven right now, right? So that's very strong. I wanted to ask also, you guys are a strong cloud user. What was the decision, or why did you go cloud instead of going on premise?
And the reason we looked at it was really around cost and scalability. What if I were to build a data center and then look at the cost, look at the options to maintain it, look at the staffing requirements, and then compare that to me having to use a cloud-based tool, it's really chalk and cheese then.
Mm-hmm.
There's no real comparison. It worked well, especially for a business of our size, and it was something that went along with that digitalization strategy that we initially formed.
Right. There's an article out there from Infor saying all the good things that you did, and we'll probably share that in the upcoming post or anything. We've also shared it before, but we'll probably share it again just to make sure that everyone sees it. But so you're growing, right? You're expanding operations soon, right?
Yes, we're looking at another production platform in the west coast of Trinidad, and we're actually looking at right now doing an expansion of the asset for inclusion of that new project.
So how do you foresee, for example, EAM as such? Is it a big challenge, or are you prepared for this as well and not afraid of that implementation?
Oh, no. I don't think we're afraid at all. We're looking forward to it because how we think of things, if we think of it in a sort of system implementation, all that it is for us is a new asset. The processes remain the same that we've worked through the bugs for. So if I have a technician doing work on Zandoli, well, the next platform, versus the iguana, which is the primary one that we have. Then all he has to do is select an asset tab, and the processes remain the same. So there's no real intense retraining of staff. The processes will be existing already.
Please
Right,
don't
so
use the
you're
word
mostly
idiot. Just make sure you don't use the word idiot. Let's say
And
I think that.
be
Go ahead, Luis.
I think Serge also it's kind of and you went through the WANA platform, and there were some challenges that we saw during that part of the implementations that we've learned from them, and I think it will smooth out this process for that new platform that you're going in. So I think we every day we're learning a couple of things, and we are employing those as we make our decisions, right?
Right.
Yeah, and first gas for that other platform is next year, Q1 next year, and the work has already been started by Suresh, myself, Terrence, and with Luis, and a lot of the work has actually been completed from the financial side. So Suresh is right now working on the asset maintenance side. So work has already been started with close partnership with Visual K to get all the work orders in place for first gas.
This
And
is
this
a, go ahead.
Sorry, this speaks to the approach that we take. We always have that look ahead with what we're trying to do. And that is our approach. And that has made us into what we're doing right now. And we don't expect that what we've done before will be redone. We expect to be better at it because we've learned, we've seen, and we've been through a lot. Visual K has helped us through fixing a lot of things, and fixing is a strong word, but creating a lot of things for us that has not ever been done on an info platform. So it really goes to show that, we're really in a space where it takes us ahead, and it puts us slightly ahead of that curve to get this done right.
So doing a new implementation, that's always an opportunity, to rinse, repeat, or that could also be something for a fresh start. Is there anything you would change in terms of how it went, or anything that you need to adjust for that new implementation, or do you think it's working very well and just minor? Obviously, there's some customizations based on the nature of the new structure, right? But you always want, in terms of configuration or anything like that, would you change, if anything?
For me, I actually wouldn't change what we've done. Yes, there were challenges, but that has always been expected with any system that is selected.
Right.
What I would say is that the support given has been extraordinary, and it continues to be. I mean, I speak to Luis sometimes more than I speak to my wife. Because of the number of because of the small projects that we do. And those small things, they add up and roll up into the larger goals and our objectives. So, I mean, it really goes. And with any system implementation, there will be times where you feel like pulling out your hair. And as you can see, I did that already. But it's something that it goes with it. And what we've done is that we were able to take an approach of delivering specific modules, and that allowed us the breathing space to get the entire project delivered within a 1 year space. Then from starting to delivering the operations module, to then looking at delivering the modules for finance, then looking at control of work and those other things that go in line with that, MOCs, etc. And that approach has really helped us.
How many beers does Luis owe you at this point?
Oh, Angel has to buy them by the truckload now. It's no longer in cases, or it's no longer in cases, or he may have to buy a distillery.
Yeah, that's probably a good investment. Angel, you're muted. I think you're.
I was trying to say, please don't go there. We have received information from the state of Louisiana that the DeNovo team has been forbidden to go back to New Orleans.
Oh, they banned them.
Yeah, it's been banned.
Oh, so Vegas was lucky. Inform had to be remote this year, right?
Yeah, it would have been before and after DeNovo.
Right, right. Well, I don't know if I should talk any more about the New Orleans experience, but it was good. Okay, Luis, there's a strong argument here that you've been with Torres more than his wife. Is there anything that you would like to add to that?
Oh, no. Just leave it there.
No, I mean in terms
Everything
of
you
support
said
or
will be
anything
used
like
against you.
that.
I know. I mean, we kind of develop more of a partnership. It's not your typical contractor and the client itself. So it's more of a partnership. I think we both gain on the things that we develop for DeNovo and from DeNovo in terms of processes and how they are operating. So we use also that to help us in other implementations, to know their way around, to engage, right? And try to pull people into one direction saying, hey, this works. I know the guys, they're doing it good and it's working for them. So I think we kind of learn from those as we go on. And that partnership, I mean, we speak on a weekly basis. We have sync meetings all Tuesday, for example, where we kind of go through all the things, annotate new things in there, new things that they are looking for. We kind of summarize what are our next plans, what are the next steps, when we're going to deliver the next activities, and so on. So I think that really also, in terms of making sure that DeNovo is uptime, it's all the time, and everything's working. I think that also help us a lot on pushing that out.
Yeah, I think the metaphor applies, right? It's a marriage between provider and customer, and it's about two-way streets, right? So
yep.
You have to have that communication and that back and forth exchange of information and transactions. You know that there's a lot of information that needs to be provided by either one of the teams.
And the other thing,
properly,
Ernesto,
right? So
is that we're also doing experimentation. I mean, there's the day-to-day operations and how we're currently supporting them, but we have also come up with crazy ideas. And whenever we talk to Terrence and we say we have this crazy idea we want to try, they always sign up. So, for example, right now we're looking at using artificial intelligence to improve the inventory management. We also talked about drones and using drones for inspections, right? So there's also that space where both of us, both DeNovo and Visual K, are willing to take some risks and experiment a little bit, which also doesn't happen often.
Yeah, keeping things spicy, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anything you'd like to add to Angel's point on those things that we are looking at experimenting?
I think for us, we're really looking at opportunities and where we can push forward and really look at how we actually approach the business. And as it evolves, technology changes, and it's changing rapidly. 5 years ago, there was nothing like data lake available to us in the way that we're using it now. 5 years ago, it was unheard of for us to have a connector between two cloud entities that are competing partners. So at the end of the day, whenever Visual K or anyone brings something new to us, we do our review. And if it's something that we see can benefit the business, it's something that we will look into. At the end of the day, it all depends on the investment required, but it is something that is always there for us.
All right. There you have it, guys. So there's a lot of things that we've spoken about today. We've spoken about having a good team, having a good provider, having a good tool. That's very important, but there's also the day-to-day risk analysis, having the information at hand, just being able to prepare for whatever may happen, but also have the ability to keep running based on the technologies that you apply to your industry, right? So there's a lot of things that we've spoken about. Unfortunately, there's so much to talk, but so little time. So I'll just finish it here. But thank you very, very much for the DeNovo team for the time that you've spent with us. I think I've had a blast. I don't know you guys, but thank you for the time, and obviously thank you for joining us and always trusting the Visual K team. We definitely appreciate your business, and well, thank you for being here, right?
And thank you for dressing up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you all. Thanks for the invitation.
Yes. Definitely, thank you guys for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
guys.
good day, everyone.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Have a good one.